point. We've got Aditya Shah joining in on the phone line right now. Aditya, hi, good morning. Good to have you on the show. What went wrong with Axis according to you?
Hi, good morning. It is really very poor set of numbers. When you look at larger private sector banks, I expected them to grow at about 10 to 15%. The loan growth has come at about 9%. The deposit growth surprisingly has been even slower than the system's deposit growth at about 10%. Axis's deposit growth was at about 6%. Slippages have risen for a larger bank like Axis Bank. Slippages have risen by about 70% to 8,800 crores. So net loan growth slow down, deposit growth slow down. On top of this, slippage is rising. So I don't think this is even an acceptable kind of a number. Very poor set of numbers. The stock in the near term should absolutely take a beating today as well. But very disappointing. No practical explanations from the management for these kind of numbers. And if larger private sector banks report these kinds of numbers, we must be very careful on the results that come in tomorrow for HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank.
Right, Aditya, you just mentioned that no plausible explanation was given by the management, and that's just something I wanted to probe on further. They are blaming a technical impact that has adversely affected their net profit by 614 crores. They're saying that ROA has been affected to the rate of 15 bips and ROE too by 1.4%. Do you believe that this could be a one-off, or do you believe that this overhang of this technical impact could continue to weigh on the numbers for the quarters ahead?
So I think, personally, practically, I think that what happened at IndusInd Bank has now made all other banks really very careful. Axis has also made some provisions on the unhedged currency exposure that they had got, which was the exact problem at IndusInd Bank. I think this would be a 1 or 2 quarter impact, not a long-term material impact per se. But other than the technical exposure, the results are not something to be happy about. The slippages are rising. The fresh addition of slippages have risen about 60 to 70% this quarter, and that is really very concerning. The whole idea was that larger private sector banks will do better than the smaller banks because their asset quality and loan origination is better than the smaller banks. But that is not how is it playing out with Axis. If other banks report good numbers, the gap between Axis, HDFC and ICICI could widen out, and Axis could be the one who will lose out. Only the positive thing of the result is the FY26 guidance. Management has retained that, and the management is confident that they will turn around this quarter. But it remains to be seen what they do.
All right, but Aditya, also help us understand what's your pecking order within the private banking space, because Axis has been a spoiler overall, and even the management commentary is not sounding that great, though they are confident of a loan book growth faster than the industry in the current year. But help us analyze your take and help us with your take and the pecking order within the private banking names.
Yeah, so within the private sector banks now, ICICI and HDFC continue to remain at the top solely because ICICI Bank is now the market leader. It is doing pretty well with respect to loan growth, deposit growth, and the biggest turnaround for ICICI Bank is with respect to the NPAs. So from my perspective, ICICI Bank continues to remain at the top. HDFC Bank, as it embarks on a turnaround after the merger, the NIM start to recover. A little bit of value play there, as the valuations there are much more cheaper than ICICI Bank. So ICICI Bank, then HDFC Bank, then SBI and Kotak would come in, and then Axis would come in. Really very poor set of numbers from Axis. Axis will now slip down until the management gives a proper recovery next quarter. The stock will stay here, or a little bit of correction could be expected in Axis.
All right, so let's watch out for Axis. But Aditya, with this, we let you go. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us this morning. So that was about Axis Bank. The GTR was actually down more than 4.5%.